In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to embroider a baby onesie. Watch till the end to learn all the best tips and tricks. Let's go.
Attention all machine embroidery beginners. Are you struggling to hoop your fabrics, don't know what thread to use, or even what tension is? Sign up for our free Embroidery for Beginners course and become an expert in no time. Click the link in the description to get started.
For this tutorial, we're gonna need the following materials. We're gonna use a baby onesie. What size is this? This is 24 months baby onesie. We're gonna use the design template that we're gonna cut out so we know where we want to hoop the design. We're gonna use a 5x7 hoop. We're going to use some embroidery threads of different colors for the design. We're going to use some pins so that we can pin down the template, some fabric scissors, and some regular scissors to cut the template. For the stabilizer, we're gonna use a no-show mesh cutaway stabilizer. This is because this fabric is really thin, so we want to avoid having shadows on this fabric. We're gonna use some painter's tape. This is to hold down the stabilizer that you'll see soon. And most importantly, because a baby's going to be wearing this, we want to ensure we get a soft, fusible stabilizer. We're gonna iron this on at the end on the back of it. And what it does is it leaves the soft feeling so the skin of the baby doesn't get irritated. Let's get started with hooping. And like always, the first thing I wanna do is grab my template and I'm gonna cut it out. Now this template right here has an X and Y, which is going to allow me to center the design perfectly on the fabric. If you guys are just getting started with embroidery, this is really good to do because then you'll have the ability to center your designs exactly where you want as you practice and get better with your embroidery. I'm just gonna cut this around the design, nothing too big, just go around it like this, and you see that the lines still remain perfect. That's exactly what I want. So now we're gonna place this template on the fabric using some pins. But before we do that, I wanna find the exact center of the baby onesie. And to do so, I'm simply going to fold it in half, try and match all of the stitch outlines, like so, and I'm going to press down the middle. This is going to give me a pretty accurate line of where the center of this is. Just gonna press there a couple times. And when we come back, we have that center line. Awesome. So then we're gonna put this on top. Now we can line it up to that center that we made. I'm going to probably do around two inches or so from the bottom of the neck and somewhere around here on the armpits. But it's really up to you. At the end of the day, it's a baby onesie. So if you wanna do a fuller design, much bigger one, it takes the whole stomach and chest, that's completely fine. We're gonna take the pins and we're just gonna grab the top and pin it down. Make sure you only pin it from one side and not both sides. So there's the top one done. We're gonna do the bottom. Try to keep it as flat as possible and centered right there. Perfect. And again, make sure I'm only pinning the top side of the onesie, not both. Now we totally put this on right now, but it is a little bit too big for my size. So I'm just gonna place it on top and I think that looks pretty good. Now that we have the template placed on the fabric, we can grab our hoop. And that's the beauty of having this template, is that now you can match this perfectly to the hoop. So let's add some stabilizer onto it. But before we do so, we're gonna pre-gauge our hoop right here, so we don't have to be messing around once it's hooped, because then it becomes a pain. So to pre-gauge your hoop, you wanna grab your fabric and fold it in half, and whatever that thickness is, so this is this thick, you want to replicate that onto your hoop. I'm going to now grab the hoop, loosen it, and you'll see that there's a little space right here, and I'm just trying to match that space to the thickness of the fabric. Somewhere around there is perfect. So now the hoop should go inside of the fabric stabilizer without me having to mess around with it. Okay. Let's take this bottom part. This is going to go to the top. This is at the bottom. And one last thing, which is very important, because we're using a single needle machine, we only have one entry point. So we want to ensure that this side, which is where the machine goes in, we have the ability to fold it so that the hoop arm can actually go in, because if it was going this way, then there is really no way for us to get in and the machine would stitch on both sides. So just watch out for that. Ensure that you're hooping this the right way, which in this case is like this. I'm now going to grab my no-show mesh stabilizer, grab a pretty decent piece. Might be a little too big, but it's okay. And what I'm gonna do with the painter's tape is just stick it on for now, so it makes it easier for us to hoop this fabric. Put this one right here. turn it over, and I'm gonna grab a second one. I'm gonna put this here like so. And because this onesie is pretty small, I'm going to try to also do these sides, see what happens, and if it makes it a little bit easier to hoop on the sides as well. Otherwise, I might have a little bit of trouble hooping and putting the hoop inside. So something like that. Now we're gonna put it in the baby onesie. Again, just bring it through the right side. I'm going to ensure that this part, which is the one that's gonna go in the machine, goes at the bottom, and put it through. Awesome. Now I'm gonna grab the top of the hoop and try to line it up as best as I can. Try to ensure that it is as horizontal as possible because I don't want this to be tilted this way or that way. I think even if it's a little bit to the left or to the right, that's no big deal. But if it is twisted, that is when people start noticing those little mistakes. So just do your best to ensure that it is horizontal. That looks nice. And what I'm gonna do is with my fingers, I'm going to press forward and down. Now that that's done, I can grab with this hand and line this up properly as best as I can. Pull this a little bit, ensure that there are no bumps on the inside of the hoop. And with my palms, I'm going to press down on the sides and bottom. Perfect. Now there you saw that I didn't put a lot of force and the hoop is in. Now it's pretty taut. You can see it's taut. And the last thing to do is on every corner, just press down for that extra security. There you go, that was pretty simple. We're gonna have a super accurate design and I didn't have to mess around with the back of the hoop because we preset it for this fabric. Now the last thing we're gonna do is turn the onesie into a bowl so that it can go into the machine with ease. And now we can take care of the tape. We no longer need it. Now we're gonna take the baby onesie in the shape of a bowl and put it in the embroidery machine. Let's go. All right, let's take care of putting the hoop into the machine now. Again, this part you wanna be a little careful. Make sure you raise the pressure foot on your embroidery machine and carefully slide it in. Go in all the way, secure it down. And now we're going to turn this baby onesie into a little bit of a bowl. Now you definitely want to be watching your machine because the last thing you want is for the machine to be embroidering on both sides or getting stuck on some part of the fabric. So something that I like to do is just grab some painter's tape. This is like my favorite tool ever. So you want to grab the painter's tape and just kind of like tape around the corners of the fabric so it assists you while it's embroidering and you can watch it and ensure that everything's gonna be okay. You can also use some clamps if you have them available, but because I don't have the clamps with me right now, the tape will do. Okay, that looks awesome. Now we've already loaded the design and all we have to do is center it onto the machine. This is where the lines come in so handy because all we do is lower the pressure foot and I'm going to align it to the center of the design. That looks pretty good. So I'm gonna raise the pressure foot, take the pins out. This one, here's the other one, and we can get rid of the template. And now we'll have perfect centering on this fabric. All right, that's pretty much it. So all we have left to do is begin the embroidery.
For all you Embroidery Design Club members, be sure to print off the accompanying cheat sheet recipe card for this video. Don't forget that as an Embroidery Design Club member, you can instantly download all your cheat sheet recipe cards to help you quickly and easily embroider virtually anything. Plus, you'll also get access to over 30,000 embroidery design, bonus projects, free giveaways, live training, and more. Click the link in the description below to learn more about our fan favorite embroidery club now.
And there you go, guys. The design is now done. Looks pretty awesome. There are absolutely no shifting, and that's thanks to the stabilizer. And these tapes help the fabric stay out of the way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to release the hoop and just gonna push it through like that. Check it out. That's what the design looks like. I don't think I have to cut any threads on the front at all, which is lovely. And on the back, what we're gonna do is just trim a couple of these excess threads with this nice pair of scissors. So I'll just take care of a couple of these. And what we can do now is take the onesie off the hoop. I'm gonna get rid of the tape as well. This tape is so great. It got the fabric out of the way, really helped out so we can watch it without necessarily having to keep our hands on the embroidery the whole time. Now the next step is to take off both of the hoops. We can put them away now. We're gonna drop the design here. And with these scissors, my goal is gonna be to cut the no-show mesh as close as possible without cutting any of the fabric or any of the threads. That's the last thing you want after finishing a really nice design, is to cut any of your fabric. So I'm just gonna take my time, cutting as close as possible. And what I like to do is almost lift the stabilizer up and push the fabric down with my finger to cause a separation as I'm cutting. This is really going to minimize any of those potential shadows that you might get because we have a very thin fabric. The onesie is very thin, which is nice because it's light for the baby. Again, trying to lift as much as possible to avoid cutting that fabric or the threads. We're almost done. That's it. And now the last step is we're gonna cut a piece of a soft fusible stabilizer around the shape of this, and we're going to iron it on with high heat. Let's do that right now. Now for this fabric, there are two sides. One of them is really soft and the other one is a little bit rough. I want the rough part to be on the side of the design. I'm just gonna cut again through this fabric, overlap it a little bit. And what I'm going to do is just try to match that to the design. You can also just leave it as a square, but because I don't want to cause any shadows, I'm trying to remove as much excess fabric as possible. I'm just going to round the corners as well, especially on this side, since right here there really isn't any embroidery. And now we're going to iron this on. We're going to put it a little bit on high heat, and we're going to put some parchment paper on top to avoid burning it. Just going to go from the center out, make sure I get all of those corners so it stays stuck. And now it's fused onto the fabric. Let it dry a little bit and you can turn it inside out. And there is the embroidery. It is looking so cute, and you can barely see any shadows on the fabric itself, which is great. That looks super, super cute. And now your baby's gonna be able to wear this without any irritation on their skin. We hope you guys enjoyed learning how to embroider on a baby onesie. Let us know if you have any questions down in the comments, and watch this video next. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.